There are times that I get so angry at the absurdity of everything going on in the world and those who perpetrate it that I could cry out of pure frustration. Let's be real. Let's not pull any punches in this video. Demons are among us, and I mean that sincerely. People who are anti-West, anti-white, pro-lockdown, climate change, and World Economic Forum advocates, these people are evil. C.S. Lewis wrote a novel called The Screwtape Letters, in which a senior demon named Screwtape provides advice to his young nephew Wormwood about how best to lead his human patients to damnation. A theme throughout the novel, which I encourage you all to read or listen to via audiobook, is that the senior demon advises his apprentice of sorts to direct the human he is in charge of to focus on the petty things in life to slowly demoralize the patient. Demoralization has been a very powerful tactic for decades, not just in fictional satirical tales like the Screwtape Letters. In wartime, demoralization has been viewed as a powerful method of psychological warfare against people. Demoralization from a psychological standpoint is waged through effective propaganda in the form of media, which influences opinions and perceptions of the world around you. The goal is simple. Bombard the populace with horrifying imagery via news networks, social media, and any other forms of media possible. I don't watch the news on a regular basis anymore, and I haven't since I lived with my parents, but I distinctly remember growing up watching the nightly news with my parents, with visions of planes flying into towers in 2001 and constant images from the war in Afghanistan. Every time I visit my parents and look at the television, I see that not much has changed. Even local news emphasizes crime trends rather than community events. If anything positive is mentioned, it is very brief and rarely a feature story, certainly not anything close to the coverage that we see of any type of warfare or over the past few years now with case numbers being reported and deaths regarding the virus. Now, we all spend a ton of our free time on social media as well. Even if you aren't someone with cable, we all know that most of the time negative stories and articles get more clicks. So much so that often news organizations online will exaggerate how bad a story is just to get interactions from people. We are all surrounded by a constant stream of negative press about everything that is allegedly wrong with the world. The population is too large, the environment is in danger, asteroids are approaching, a new deadly strain has popped up, food shortages are on the rise, and this goes on and on and on. Is this sounding familiar? Being blackpilled has become a term associated with someone who looks at the world around them and acknowledges how terrible it is, and then often spreads this knowledge to everyone else. I am certainly not saying that we should resign ourselves to retreating entirely from the world and become blissfully unaware of what the current propaganda is telling average people. That would be a strategical error. But you see, the black pill is insidious. Most of the time, anyone referring to themselves as black-pilled, or even people who call themselves accelerationists, don't simply retreat to their caves. The black pill is infectious. When you have the attitude of everything is going to hell and there is nothing we can do about it, I suppose it's probably human nature to try to tell everyone else the same thing. It's almost as if there is a part of those people deep down that knows they have to try to do something. It's just unfortunate that their version of that isn't to try and provide any solutions, but instead to drag everyone else into an "it's so over" mentality with them. Again, sounding familiar? So, how do we prevent ourselves from being demoralized? From becoming blackpilled? I'll be the first to acknowledge, like I did at the start of this video, that I struggle with finding hope at times. So, what keeps me sane? Why won't I give in? And why shouldn't you? To start off, let's all acknowledge that giving up doesn't serve anyone but the individuals and organizations who want you demoralized because they directly benefit from it. It's much easier to be fat, lazy, alone, and depressed, and to sell those people therapy and pills, than it is to do what you can to improve yourself and encourage others around you to do that, and build community. Now, there are certainly ways to acknowledge how bad things are and still not let it consume you. Aaron Clarey calls this enjoying the decline. Even if you want to believe everything is over and there's nothing we can do, there are zero reasons to be miserable. You're only harming yourself and dragging everyone else down with you. Enjoy the decline. If you still want to have hope for the future, don't bother turning on the news or going to Twitter to feel better. As I said earlier, the entire goal of those mediums is propaganda to demoralize you completely. If you can't handle those mediums without getting demoralized, leave them. Nothing makes miserable people angrier than seeing others succeed. In fact, I personally think that the reason demoralization and black-pilled attitudes are so pervasive is that they benefit the propaganda machine by being infectious. The more Western people you can get to start screeching about how everything is over and there's nothing we can do about it, the easier the job of the demoralizers are. That has always been obvious to me. I'm personally incredibly stubborn, to a fault sometimes, but I use that to my advantage when I have moments where I feel drained. I think to myself, no, this is exactly the mentality they want me to have. Nice try. I don't think it's a coincidence that the groups most heavily targeted for this demoralization are the groups historically that are the most likely to fight back. If you give in and start demoralizing your brothers and sisters, in my view, you are a tool of the machine and you should get the hell away from me. You are worse than useless. You are the enemy. If you want to inform people about how bad things are so that they can try to find a way to either still enjoy themselves or to fight back, you're cool with me. If you are someone who constantly dunks on anyone trying to find something positive to think about or trying to give people the tools to, at the very least, enjoy the decline, you. Reduce the problem by 1 if things are so bad, but you won't. You want to know why? Because deep down you know there is something that you can do to improve your life and help others. You're just too lazy to do it. Figure your life out. Enjoy it while it lasts, and don't you dare attempt to demoralize everyone else along with you by telling them to stop doing what they're doing. Western kind is targeted because we are the only ones with the potential to view ourselves worthy of enjoying ourselves and perhaps even giving a big middle finger to the energy vampires along the way. So, enjoy the decline. Don't be a loser. And join me in rejecting the black pill. I'll see you on the other side, wherever that takes us.